Hello, gorgeous human beings of the Channel Summit. Channel Summit, a summit of sisterhood for me, for you, for us. Today we have Kim Erwin with us. And something really special happened for Kim right before her segment, or somewhere along the day, the night. Something kind of happened for her, and she just got this really strong intuition. She's supposed to go with this by herself. And so every participant was given the choice, whether they came in and kind of riffed back and forth with me, whether they came in and just kind of led a segment. And then everyone kind of went with their intuition. And at first Kim was like, we're gonna do it together. And then she's like, I just got a feeling I'm supposed to do this on my own. And so I'm very excited to see what Kim has to share with us today. What I love about her is she's always very true to what's real and true in the moment. Kim won't do something just because she should. If she says, I want to do something, then she does it. And if it feels like she no longer wants to do it, she won't. She'll really stay true to herself. If she needs to change her mind, she'll change her mind. She's very vocal about what she wants, what she needs, and she trusts herself. And I feel like that is such a beautiful quality. And I'm excited to see how that's going to benefit all of us today. So thank you so much for being here. Kim, come on up. I am going to give you the floor. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I'm going to take myself off of the connection, so it's just you on the screen. And when you're ready for me, just call me right back up.
Okay. And I should have asked you this before. If I put this in gallery view so I can see everyone's beautiful faces, is that going to mess anything up?
You should be able to put gallery view so you can see them, and you'll still be pinned for everybody else.
There we go. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melanie, for that warm introduction. And thank you all for being here today. Just seeing your names pop up on the screen to being admitted and just seeing all of your beautiful faces. I'm just so grateful that you're all here today. And I thank you for your time. And it was so interesting because yesterday, I didn't plan this. I had this planned out, let me say it that way. And I was planning on having this beautiful conversation with Melanie. And I was like, this is going to be the most upbeat conversation and it's going to be beautiful. And yesterday, my body was feeling a bit tired. And so I laid down. And as soon as I woke up, I felt it. And it was like, you're to speak about this. And I was like, no, I am not going to speak about that. I don't shine the light on myself often. I feel like I'm better amplifying others and shining their light. But it was like someone, and I don't know who you are, but you need to hear this story. This is for you. And I will most likely get emotional during this story. This is a very vulnerable story for me to share. And this is, again, I did not want to talk about this, but I felt very guided to, and I feel guided on how to share it in a way, because in the way that I'm going to be sharing this. And so with that, I will say is I'm going to give you a trigger warning for this, that I will be speaking about loss. I will be speaking about infertility. And I will be touching a little bit on just surgery if that triggers anyone. I'm not going to go into great detail with anything, but I just want you to feel my heart in this. And that I hope my intention with this call today is to bring healing. My story is one of brokenness to redemption. And my hope is that even though our circumstances may not look alike, and in some it may look similar, my hope is that my words bring healing to your soul, and to let you know that you're not alone, and to let you know that there's nothing broken about you. And so if you can bear with me today, because as Melanie said, I really wanted to do this with her. And when I got this, I was like, oh no, but I feel very guided to do this. So I ask that you sit with me like we're sitting as friends with like a cup of tea, and we're having this heartfelt conversation. And there's moments that are going to be a little bit maybe challenging to get through, but we're going to get through it together. And how I feel led to do this is very different. I'm going to sprinkle pieces for you. I'm going to sprinkle pieces of this story, and then I'm going to tie it up for you. And so what I feel led to share with you is back in 2005, I have a friend who went to school in Nashville, and she's an incredible singer. She writes music and, the lyrics as well as the music itself. And so I had the opportunity to go down to Nashville with her. And as she was showing me around and things like that, we had this opportunity to go in and have her record one of the songs that she wrote. And it was called Belong. And that song has stayed with me till this day. It's been almost 20 years. And that song has not hit the airwaves, but it's one that I believe will. because it is so needed. And, I never felt like I belonged. Never. I couldn't quite find my way in this world and where I fit in. And that song stuck with me because it gave me such a good feeling of, I feel like I belong somewhere. And so I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and this gets into a little bit of a difficult part of the journey. So walk with me with this if you can. And if you can't, it's okay. But my husband and I had been married for many years, and we wanted to start a family. And never in my life did I ever think, out of things I had gone through, not once did it ever cross my mind that infertility would be part of my journey, that loss would be part of my journey. It never even crossed my mind. And so when we decided to start our family, I got pregnant very quickly. And we were so excited. We got so creative in just how we wanted to make the announcement. And we did. We had this beautiful way of announcing it, and it was so much joy. And not a week later, it came to me that it didn't come to me, but I experienced loss. And I realized in that moment that I would never walk this earth with that child. And Colleen was gracious enough to offer to me last night, because I've been crying my eyes out, to help me work through some of this. But I said, I want them to feel the raw emotion, because I know that there's people who are walking through things and it may not look exactly like this, but I want you to feel it, because I want you to know you're not alone. Because in that moment, I felt very alone. I felt alone. And what I did is I attached so much meaning to that loss. What did I make it mean? I made it mean that I was unworthy. I made it mean that my dreams don't get to come true. I made it mean that I was broken. And I made it mean once again that I don't belong. And it was a very painful journey. And not everyone attaches that meaning to things that have experienced this. And I realize this, I'm just sharing my journey and where I was at the time. I'm a very different person now than who I was back then. My beliefs are different. I walk through things differently, but this is where I was. And I want to be very just raw and truthful with that. And so my husband and I, it was a journey. And it was about a year later. Christmas is my favorite holiday, and there's meaning to that for me, which I won't get into today. But around Thanksgiving, I knew I was pregnant again. And like I said, this has been about, I think, like over a year. And I could feel it, but it was too early to test. And I just knew it. It was like mine and my husband's secret. And I was so happy. And a few days later, when we went in for testing and stuff like that, it was confirmed and we were ecstatic. And then a few days later, they called me back in for testing, and I ended up getting the news and having the conversation with the doctor that once again, there was loss. And so I had to walk through that. And he had the conversation with me on the phone, and he said, there's nothing that I can do. And I said, what do you mean? And he's like, there's nothing I can do. He goes, you need to go to a fertility specialist. And I'm like, me? I'm like, what do you mean I need to go to a fertility specialist? I'm like, this isn't how the story is supposed to play out. And he's like, no, he's like, there's nothing I can do. And I was like, okay. And so again, I started attaching meaning to things. And I made it mean again, once again, I was unworthy, that my dreams don't get to come true, that I didn't belong. And what do I do with all of this? And so my husband and I found ourselves at this fertility clinic, and there were things that this is a very personal journey for everyone. And I realized that. So what him and we had decided that there were things that we were not going to, a road we would not travel down. It was just things that weren't right for us. I don't judge people if they go down certain roads, but just things that weren't right for us. It was a very personal thing for us. And this doctor, he was such a gift to us, because he never once pressured. And we went through testing and all this stuff for a year. And he's like, there's nothing wrong. And I'm like, what do you mean there's nothing wrong? I'm like, there has to be a reason why this is happening. And he's like, there's nothing wrong. And I'm like, okay, what do I do with this? And he's like, well, we can try one procedure. And he's like, for some people it works and for some people it doesn't. And I'm like, I don't want to go through this. But he's just like, well, he's like, that's what we can try. And, he's like, whatever you want to do. And so in that moment, I agreed to it. And before the time came to do the procedure, I talked to him and I said, I felt it in my body. And I said, I can't do this. I said, I'm not supposed to do this. And I said, can you give me one more month? I said, one more time. And he said, absolutely. He's like, it's your choice. And I was like, okay. And in that moment, what I will say is in that month, I did become pregnant with my son. Now, again, feel my heart in this because I understand that that's not everybody's journey. Okay. I understand that it doesn't end like this. And I didn't know if my story would end with a child or not in my arms. I didn't know that. So I basically became pregnant. I was considered high risk. We were going to the doctors a lot, lots of tests being run, all this stuff. And so we go on this journey and had a beautiful pregnancy overall. And towards the end, I was having to go to the doctor each week. And basically what happened was it was a few weeks before I was supposed to have my son. And I looked at my husband and I said, take our bags. I said, they're going to admit me. And he's like, what? I said, they're going to admit me. And he's like, okay. We went to the doctors and sure enough, they went to admit me. They were like, you're going to the hospital now. And I was like, okay. And I had it all planned out. I had it all planned out how this birth would be and that it was going to be the most beautiful experience and all these things. And it wasn't. It was a very, very challenging time. My husband is an extremely strong man and I'm grateful for him every day. He had to hold a lot during that time because what I didn't know is that I wasn't doing well. They hid it from me. They best that they could because they wanted me to stay focused on having this child, but I wasn't doing well at all. And they finally came to me and they said, we need to have an emergency C-section. They're like, now. And I was like, not okay with it. But I was like, okay, then that's what we're going to do if that's what's best. And again, I still didn't know the condition that I was in and what was going on in my own body. And so we went in and obviously had the procedure and everything. And thankfully my son was born and he was healthy. And I'm so grateful for that. But, you know, I don't, and it's okay, but I don't have the beautiful pictures, you know, because I wasn't doing well. I don't have the beautiful pictures of my son and I don't have like all these wonderful memories and things like that. And that's okay, because I know also people could look at that and say, well, you don't have, you know, but you have a son, and that I am grateful for. But I will tell you that that scar that I had from that procedure, I wasn't able to look at for years. Because what I ended up finding out, and even after I had my son, I was not in good condition. And doctors were saying a lot of things to me that I had to hold in that moment because this is going to be a trigger. But I was facing my own mortality. And it was very hard to hear, especially after having my son. But what I decided in that moment when they were telling me all of these things, and they were not easy to hear, is that the story is not going to end this way. I was confident of that this story would not end like they were telling me. And so it was a journey and we had to walk. And for years, I could not look at that scar because I knew what gave my son life almost took mine. And it was so hard to walk through. It was such a journey. Like you think like after these losses and then you get pregnant, like it's all going to be perfect, and it wasn't. And like I said, the main message I want to get out of this is, one, I don't want anyone that's going through this journey, if you are, to feel alone in this, because I felt alone. There were things that people said, they were well-meaning, but they said to me in those moments that were so hurtful, and they didn't mean it that way. But like some of the things that they said were very hurtful. And it's like, I just want people to know, like, you're not alone, and your journey may not look exactly like mine, but just know that there are other people walking with you. Because in those moments, I remember going through the infertility journey, I would be sitting there up all night on the phone and I would be trying to find stories of people that I could find hope from. And I wasn't able to find a lot because I don't think it's something that's talked about a lot. I found 2 people that were talking about it on a blog, and one lady had stopped talking about it, but basically that's all I found at that time. And so I just want you to know that you're not alone. You're not broken. You are worthy, and your dreams are meant to come true. And out of this, all of this, I had to make a decision. Out of all of this is choosing that, again, I was worthy and that I belonged. And so I want you to, I know that was a lot to hold, and I thank you for walking with me with that. And so I just ask you to walk with me a little bit further till we get to the channel. You know, before I entered the channel, I had been in AFE. And I became a very different person, and I had to, because I would have missed all of this if I wouldn't have changed who I was. And I'm still evolving and things are still shifting, but it brings me to tears oftentimes. And I've told some of these sweet faces looking at me now that I would have missed you in this lifetime if I would have not have shifted who I was. There was things that I really needed to change in my life. And so I was in AFE, and then I see, Melanie had offered the channel, and I felt called to it. I got this vision, and I saw that I was going to rise. And I was being called to rise. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And I didn't even know what it all meant. And so I found myself in this place with these amazing women. And, I tried to pull my seat up at the table, and I tried that on for a very long time. And for me, it didn't work. And I would be like, okay, I'm sitting at the table. And then I'm like, I don't belong here. And then I'm like, okay, I'm sitting at the table. And I went back and forth with it so much. And what finally clicked for me was this, is the day that I stopped looking at everything that I wasn't, and I started looking at everything that I am. And I don't mean that I was ever less than, but through my journey in the channel, I kept, because of coming from this place of brokenness, I kept looking at everything that I wasn't. So I'm like, how could I feel a part of it? How could I feel it? Because when you're looking at yourself through this broken lens, it's very hard to come into this room with all these powerful women and be like, I belong here. But once I shifted that, and once I decided that, things began to shift. And I say this often, and I mean this with my whole heart, and I hope you get what I'm about to say, is I saw them and I found me. And what I mean by that is I don't mean that I was so lost, but what I mean is that what I saw from them, what they reflected back to me was power, was beauty, was strength, was so many things. Like each and every one of these people that are in this space, they have got so much heart. And what they reflected back to me were the pieces of me that I needed, like a light to shine on, if you will. And so this has been a very healing space for me. For me, it's been transformational. I didn't know things like this existed, and I certainly didn't think they existed for me. I had never had this. I never felt like I belonged anywhere. So how was I going to come into this group of over 50 women and belong? And, again, taking your seat at this table, it's a big deal. But I got to tell you, these women, when you open your heart to them, they will love on you like nothing else. We have a chat that we have going on, and if you would see before and after each call, the love that is just shined on each woman. The messages that I received before my call today, I'm so touched. The time that all of these women, like every single one of you, even outside of the channel, that you're here to spend with me, I appreciate it, because I know the value of time. I understand it, because when you face things that I did, it takes on new meaning. And I want to share with you, I feel called to share this because I know when I was going through the infertility journey in that place and all of that, there was this song that helped carry me. And I want to read just a few of the lyrics from it. And I want you to feel them. And I'll tell you what the song is afterwards. But I want you to feel them because they're healing. They really are, if you allow them to be. But it says, beginning. Just let that word wash over you. It's all right now. Love's healing hands have pulled you through. So get back up, take step one, leave the darkness, feel the sun, because your story's far from over and your journey's just begun. Tell your heart to beat again. Close your eyes and breathe it in. Let the shadows fall away. Step into the light of grace. Yesterday's a closing door. You don't live there anymore. Say goodbye to where you've been and tell your heart to beat again. And I want to share this with you. I forgot to share it before, but I'll give you a little trigger warning here, just in case this brings up anything for anyone. But the story behind this song is so powerful, why this song was written. And I won't tell all of it, but I will tell a piece of it, is this woman had heart surgery. And basically what happened was everything went very well. And after the surgery, her heart didn't start beating. And what the doctor did is he got down while she was still out and he whispered to her and he said, Miss So-and-so, he said, the surgery went well. Everything is perfect. And he said, I need you to tell your heart to beat again. And with that, her heart started beating. And that song means so much to me because through my walk of infertility and through even my daily walk now with the different things, sometimes life and things that happen in life bring us to our knees. But where are the places that we need to tell our heart to beat again? You know, that's how I walk through that infertility journey. Like I walk through that by telling myself every day, beat again. You have a purpose. There's a reason why you're here. Your story is going to touch someone's life. And I got to tell you, I still feel it strongly that this is for someone today. I don't know who you are. You may not even be on this call. It may be sometime in the future, but I'm telling you because I feel it deeply to tell your heart to beat again. You know, that you have these big dreams in your heart, right? These big dreams. And it's like, breathe them into life. You matter. Your story matters. You're here and you matter and you do belong. And the world, it needs your medicine. It needs your medicine. And you're here for a reason. And I know we can hear these things, but I mean this, and I hope you hear it from my heart, because facing my own mortality, I realized that, you know what, like there was a chance I wouldn't be here giving this talk today, that I wouldn't be able to be here to speak these words, and it could look very different. And, you know, when I hear the stories, and again, I'll give you the trigger warning if you didn't listen to them, but with Colleen and Kyra, I'm like, part of their stories, the world would be incomplete without them. The world would be incomplete without you. And I just feel strongly to hear that message, to feel that love, and to know that you matter. And during the channel, the 29 principle was born. It was actually interesting. I was trying to find my way so much during the channel. And I was like, okay, what am I here to do? You know, I love speaking life into people and I love doing this. What's my business? What is it? And I was studying the work of Napoleon Hill, and I was reading the book, Think and Grow Rich. And as I was writing one night, it came to me. If you're familiar with it, you may not be. There's a part in the story where Napoleon was sitting down with Andrew Carnegie. And Andrew Carnegie had asked him to basically take on what would now become Think and Grow Rich, to do the work behind the scenes for I believe it was over 20 years without getting paid. What Napoleon didn't know in that moment is that Andrew Carnegie was sitting at his desk, but he had a stopwatch. And he was giving him 60 seconds to make a decision. And he didn't know that. And Napoleon made this decision in 29 seconds. And it is a decision that is still impacting this world today. And the 29 principle came through to me. And I'm not suggesting that you make decisions in 29 seconds. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine what that would do to your nervous system, because I can feel that. But what it means is the power of our decisions to leave lasting impact, to leave our footprints on this world so that others find it long after we're gone. That's what it means to me, is making these big decisions. And the women that I have walked with these last 2 years, they're doing that. And I'm so honored to be in this space with them. And Melanie, that's one of the things that drew me to you, is you do that. You have built something and created something that will last beyond any lifetime. And it is so beautiful. And so I thank all of you for that. And today, like I said, I want to tie this all up for you, because I know I was telling different pieces of the story, but my message is again, that you belong. To be intentional with our steps, right? To be intentional so that we're walking with purpose, that we're leaving the footprints that we are meant to leave, that we're leaving the impact that we're meant to leave. And that we're here, our stories, our experiences, our things touch others' lives. I didn't want to share this story today. This is not what I wanted to share. But you know what? I hope my words are medicine to someone. And that's what I really hope. I hope that my words, that what I went through, that painful period that I went through, that I can be hope to someone. And that all of my experience and all of who I am will inspire someone to walk the path that they're meant to walk. Because I can tell you, walking with all these women, that's what it's done for me. And I haven't been perfect with it. I've been quiet a lot of the time and things like that. And there was things that I was processing and walking through myself. But what I've realized to now and today, that needs to change. Because if I just stay hidden with my story, and if I just stay hidden with the things that I've walked through, what good is that going to be for anyone? It's not going to serve anyone. And I'm here to make impact. I'm here to create a story that lasts far beyond me. I'm here to change lives. And it's not my work to change someone's life, but my story I know can change someone's life, and it can heal. Your story can heal. And I just hope that you all know how valuable that you are so loved, and that every step that you take is so important. Every decision you make is important. And so, Melanie, if you'd like to come back up with me, but I just love you all so much. And I thank you for walking with me today and for holding everything that you have with me today and just being on this path with me.
Oh, I'm a bit of a mess. That was so beautiful.
Thank you. I was a mess before the call. I'm like, I don't know if I can get on and do this. And I literally, here, I'll make you all laugh for a minute. Melanie, while you take a minute. So literally, if any of you are questioning if Colleen's work works. So I worked with her for years, because I had so much built up inside and there was so many layers to things. I couldn't cry. I literally there might be a little tear that came to my eye, but I could not cry. And she's like, I can help you with this. And I'm like, okay. And so literally I'm messaging her before this call because I've been nothing but crying. When I heard that this message is what I was supposed to do, I started crying. And I'm like, can you help me uncry? I'm like, because I'm going to talk tomorrow. And she's like, no, I'm just kidding. But she helped me to cry again. She helped me to, excuse me, feel again. And that's the power when you surround yourself with beautiful people like this. And look, and real quickly, Mel, and I'll just say this to give you a minute, but this channel, Nadia and I had this conversation yesterday. We are weaving a beautiful, unintentionally, we are weaving a beautiful story for you. If you listen to each of these calls, we are weaving this story for you, and we want you to find your place in the story. This isn't about an us versus them. This is, hey, find yourself in the story and come with us. Come with us. That's what it is. But this story, we're weaving it for you.
So what really touched me about your story, which I just think is so, just the way you told the whole thing, you just had me the whole time. You nailed that. That was you made a very big difference for me in that. And the thing that I love when you said I almost missed you, I almost took myself out before I put myself in, and then I almost took myself out after I'd put myself in. I almost missed it. And I feel that's the story for so many of us, either that we almost missed it, or worse, that we did miss it. And the level of responsibility it takes for a person to recognize that if they don't ever feel like they belonged, it wasn't because no one was going to accept them. It was because they missed it. They missed the opportunity to believe that they fit, that they were invited, that they mattered. They just missed it. And most of us don't see it like that. We don't say, you know what's a shame? I missed the opportunity to connect with this person. I missed the opportunity to move past my ego and to stay friends. I missed the opportunity to work through my inner stuff and to stay connected to this circle or this person. Or we don't say I missed it. We say they didn't care about me. We say they messed it up. We say they didn't get it. They didn't get me. And the sad thing is, the more we build that story, the harder it is to feel like we can belong anywhere, because we're constantly terrified that people are going to miss the point, not invite us. And we're looking for that everywhere. We're looking for it. We're looking for everything we're not. We're saying, how can I'm not as fashion forward as Silke. I'm not as, connected to the divine as Nikki. And I'm not as, all about the brain as Colleen. And I don't have the fire that Kyra has. And I don't know how I'm supposed to connect to the other worldly things like Homaya does. And I don't know how to, I'm 35 and I'm questioning my aging. And here's Nicole at 48 who just has got it all. I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't look like that. I don't feel like that. Every time looking for what I'm not, and I take away my belonging. I miss how we're the same. I miss I love the beauty I see in you around that. And if I see that beauty in you, it's probably because it's a reflection of me. I love your courage. I love your strength. I love your compassion. I love your story. I love your heart. I love your mind. I love your spirit. I love this about you. I see the beauty in you instead of I see what I'm not. And when I think about even the journey of building the channel, or of becoming strong enough to trust that this is somehow going to work out for me, this has been a crazy journey these last like 10 years or so. I've often had the experience and the feeling of not belonging. And I think that's a very human thing to feel, that you don't belong. But the thing that was really magical for me is I realized that there's two different ways to handling not belonging. You either look at everybody else that doesn't make you belong, or you start to build a place where it is so in your image that then people start to show up, and obviously you feel like you belong because you're the one who set the table. And I feel like when I declared the channel and people started showing up, I felt the belonging that I had known until the channel. And the belonging I had known until the channel was, of course I belong because I set the table. Before my coaching business, I often felt I didn't belong because I didn't belong in anyone else's business mind, and I didn't belong in anybody else's I sometimes felt like even a misfit in my family, in the way that they were all capable of certain things that I wasn't. Like everywhere I was, I kind of felt like I didn't belong. So Alpha Femme felt like people like me finding me. It felt like I belonged because I was calling in people like me. But the channel took that to a whole other level, because I had the experience of feeling, even myself within the channel, how did I call everybody to this table and I still don't feel like I belong here? I had moments like that during the channel, and we worked through all of that. And I found a whole other meaning. Belonging isn't something superficial. It isn't something like you just fit in cozy. It isn't something like because you were chosen. Kind of what we were talking about with Lindsay, like even if you get invited, you don't even necessarily feel like you belong. Even if you're the one who throws the party, you don't necessarily feel like you belong until the day you realize that your belonging is, you were born with it. No one can take it away from you. You've got to live by it. And then when you start to live by it, you give everyone permission to live by it, to live by this belonging. And because there's always a moment, even when you get it, you can stop living by it for a minute. Like you've had breakthroughs, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know what? I don't think I need to be in this summit. I'll just watch it. And then you're like, no, I think I'll be in the summit. And I was like, okay, well, I'll be in the summit and I'll do it with you. And I was like, no, I'll be in the summit, but I'll do it on my own. Like there's still a pull, even though you get the concept. And so it's getting the concept and then living by it. That's the thing that's so powerful. It's like the reminder and the continuous being around the people that remind you. And when you explained your vision of how you just kind of watched the other participants shine the light and it lit up parts of you that you hadn't seen. When you think about it, we're like an ecosystem, but this same group of people, it exists all over the world in all kinds of different places, people with the same kind of qualities that could be calling for you that you're just not noticing, or certain rooms that have the potential to show you so much humanity, but you're so worried about your lack of belonging that you're going to miss it. And I feel like this message from you was, you said someone in the room will be touched by this. I'm touched by this. You made a huge difference for me in what you shared today. Like this was a masterpiece, what you've shared, and you nailed the way you delivered it. I'm so I don't know even what the right word is. I'm proud. I'm impressed. I admire you. Like I love what you've done here. I think it was absolutely beautiful. I'm so glad you followed your intuition. And I guess the one thing I would ask is, like, if a person right now is trying to conceptualize choosing their belonging, and obviously the channel was a 2-year experience for us. It's not just like they can choose to join the channel. There is no channel. Like this is the channel, it's like this is the channel they choose. But what does that look like for them in their lives? How do they start looking at their life differently now after all this?
Well, I have a couple thoughts on that. And the one is, like I said, what worked for me is when I stopped looking at everything that I'm not. Look at what you are, look at what you have to offer this world, because there's so much depth to you that you don't even realize. And I'm going to go back to this for a minute. I don't mean to keep going back to it, but it's something that just impacted my life profoundly. Is like, after I had my son and I was facing those things that the doctor was saying to me, in those moments, I had a choice to make. And in that moment, all of the things of the world that we worry about and we think that are important, when you're faced with something like that, they're not.
Mm.
They hold no meaning. And I can tell you that because what I thought about in that moment, all I thought about in that moment was living. That's the only thing that I thought about. And, you know, the pain that I've walked through in life and different things and stuff like that, like we tell ourselves these stories, we attach stories to so many things and we make things mean something, whether they do or not. But what I can tell you is in that moment, and look, I haven't perfected this, I'm still walking through it, but when I remind myself and I take myself back to that moment, I'm like, none of it matters. What matters is, who did I come here to be? And who did I come here? What's the impact I'm here to create while I'm here? That's the bigger story to all of it. We wrestle with, do we belong and can we fit in this room? And look, I went through that journey and I went through that experience that I'm telling you about. And then like, I still come into the channel and I'm like, I don't belong. But when I look at it, if I really take the time to look at it, there's so much meaning I was attaching to things that didn't mean anything. I could have simply walked into this room and said, here's who I am. Love me, don't love me, whatever you want, but this is who I am. And that's something that I'm working on. But that, Melanie, I think is the bigger story is, what are we attaching meaning to? Why don't we feel like we belong? Why is that? And really say, like, what is me not belonging? What is that? Who is that serving? Who's it serving? No one.
So what if we did something really cool for this call? And what if we invited people that are watching this to just invite themselves into the, in the Facebook group and in the Alpha Femme, like to make a post of your belonging, of why you're in Alpha Femme, of why you are in Alpha Femme, why you belong in this group, why you belong in this summit, why your participation in this makes an impact on us, like why you belong here and why you belong out there and why you belong in your family and why you belong in your circle, why you belong in your profession, whatever feels like the calling to answer. But we'd love to know, for those of you watching, like, what do you belong to? And can we know more about you as we're going through this entire journey with you? I think that would be a really cool move.
I love that because, you know, Melanie, too, for the people that may be struggling with the belonging and aren't quite there yet, we can be the light to shine on for them. I'm sorry, I don't know what all that message is, but we can be the light to shine on them.
I love
Just,
that.
you know, and say, okay, maybe you feel like you're struggling with this, but let's shine a light on why you do belong.
And you know what, if we've made a big enough difference already that you don't even feel like you're struggling, if you feel like you're like, holy pickles, that call made me feel like I belong. I just had a breakthrough around my family. I just had a breakthrough around my profession or my people. Like I actually feel like I do belong. Then I just come celebrate that and tell us about that. And we'll witness you in that. Because I think the way we'll know the summit landed is if by the end of it, you all feel like you're also the channel. That's really the goal that we're walking with. So, oh my gosh, this has been such a beautiful call. I'm so emotional. My eyes are just like big puffy pockets of love. Wow. Is there anything else we haven't touched? Something that was important to you that you want to talk about during this call?
The only thing I think I want to wrap it up with just saying is, once again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. And again, I hope my words were medicine to your soul. And Melanie, thank you for all that you do. You have done so much and you continue to do so much. Thank you for trusting us with this summit. Thank you for creating the space that you have, even when your heart's been tender. And thank you for continuing to lead, because again, you've built something that will last far beyond any of us. And it's the most beautiful thing to witness. So thank you for that. Thank
you. That's such an amazing thing to say. Thank you so much. So I want to read you Kim's bio. Whoa, what a freaking masterpiece. I'm so proud of us. Can't handle it. Okay. Kim is the founder of the 29 Principle. Her mission is to create lasting impact and empower others to move into movement. While reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Kim realized how the power of one decision can become a catalyst towards a global movement. All of us have a powerful story to share. Kim is here to guide people into owning their story and breathing their pivotal purpose into existence. This starts with the power of making one decision. She guides people to move with intention and leave their unique footprints on this earth. Kim is here to journey with you by weaving together the present with the future to create lasting impact for lives that are yet to walk on this earth. That's so beautiful. I'm a bit.
Oh, my pickles are holy after that. Sorry, I'm reading the comments.
You guys, the best comment so far of the whole thing. All my pickles are holy after that. That's brilliant. Oh my gosh, Kim, thank you for your generosity and your heart and your courage. We're sending you so much love. Thank you so much for this segment. We love you.
I love you all. Thank
So
you.
we have one last segment this evening with Rhea that's starting in a couple of hours. So take some time. We'll see you back here. If you feel pulled to write that post about your belonging, we'll be looking forward to reading it with you. Thank you for your participation. And I do want to say there are faces that we're recognizing that have been here on every call or almost every call, and your faces make such a difference to us. And so thank you for participating. Thank you for being a part of this. We love you. You're beautiful. You smell nice. And we'll see you for the next segment so soon.